All right, welcome back, everybody, to Fly on the Wall podcast.
Welcome
Uh,
back,
I'm your host Phil, and this is your host.
Aaron. What's up?
How y'all? Well, I say how y'all doing. Y'all can't respond. How you doing,
Good
bro?
in the chat.
Yeah, but how you doing? Holla at me.
Me?
Yeah,
Shoot, I'm alright, bro. It's been it's been a minute since we did this, so still gotta get back into the routine. But I mean, when life come calling, you just gotta
yeah. Got to pick up.
figure stuff out. So
Got to pick up the
it's
phone.
yeah, life been
Yeah,
kind of crazy, dude. Honestly, life has been kind of crazy the last couple months, like in a good crazy.
yeah,
A lot of good things happen, big changes, setting up, like just trying to get everything like situated, like foundation wise for like the rest of life. You know
yeah.
what I'm saying?
Huge.
Just figuring out exactly how that's gonna go and what that's gonna look like.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, truth be told, you saying that, setting things up foundationally for the rest of your life. This whole, I'm just thinking about this last year of life. I mean, outside, barring COVID and uh, everything, like, I guess, like, whatever our generation specifically, like, it's an interesting time is because we're transitioning from school into life. And it's like we do have to establish those foundations. Like, we have to get our footing in the game right now in terms of life. So it's like, what kind of footing you trying to grab, or like, what are you trying to set up? Where do you want to be in X amount of years? Like, how to be present in the moment while also being cognizant of time ever expanding. being aware of the fact that you're
Yeah,
not
or
gonna be where you at for the rest of your life unless you are going to be there, I guess, unless you move.
yeah.
So
Yeah, real quick, bro. Bro, shout out to all the kids who graduated this year.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
pandemic for real.
uh-huh.
That's no easy feat. So
Yeah. We thought we had it bad. Our graduation got stuck by COVID. They whole senior year. It wasn't COVID.
dude, no
Yeah.
prom for some of them. Like,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. My friend Evan Wise, went to USC.
man,
And yeah, I think you might have met Evan. She came to Charleston visit a couple times. Like,
yeah.
whenever I played football, whenever I had something to come visit for, I guess. But they went. USC had the class of 20 out there at the Coliseum. They had not the Coliseum, but at the Williams Brice, the stadium, football stadium. They went and did an outside graduation for the class of 2020 this year.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah,
I
so they
saw
put
that.
on cap and gown and went out there and had a 2020. Yeah, that was cool, man. It was real cool. Yeah. But anyway, man, speaking of which, I believe that's our topic for the day is,
Yeah.
yeah, life after sports. And I mean, that's going to apply to us specifically, but I guess we can do life after whatever childhood activity you've been doing for, you know what I'm saying, your whole life, and then you graduate and then have to go on without doing it.
Yeah. So this one comes from Rico. Rico. So shout out to you. But Rico was asking us pretty much. He was watching our videos. He was like, "Yo, it sounds like you guys are kind of figuring out what you're doing. Uh, but that's not like an easy transition for people coming from." And if my voice sounds a little stuffy, man, I said, "I'll just kill me right now." So, but it's always stuffy, but whatever. But he was like, "Yeah, man, it seems like you guys kind of like figuring out what you want to do. You got your podcast, you got jobs, but like it seems like you guys are finding a way to have purpose in life, whereas it hasn't always been that easy of a transition for a lot of people." He knows. I don't know if he plays sports or not, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just not an easy transition for a lot of athletes.
hmm
You wanted to kind of like just hear our thoughts on perspective on that and life afterwards.
For me, I saw this thing I think it was Twitter the other day. Like, once a day or whatever, I'll scroll through the Twitter and then go through the Insta and then go through the Snapchat and all that. But it was someone talking about life after athletics in college, and then they were saying like, for people who were like feeling, I guess the the more modern term would be feeling some type of way. I don't know how to communicate that else wherever right now, but anyway, feeling some type of way, whatever, after they graduate or whoop the whoop. And they were saying they didn't, in a lot of ways, athletics didn't prepare you for life, or in a lot of ways, it was just like produce, like rigid schedule, wake up, do this, wake up, do that, get what they can out of you, and then you graduate. It's like a mutually beneficial transaction. Like you have a degree, they got, a couple wins, hopefully, out of you as an athlete. But one of the biggest things for me is like, yeah, there's a lot that I guess like athletics didn't do for us. And I guess that's what we're going to touch on today is like compensating or different things. But for me personally, the transition between football and life has been, it's been like a bumpy one, not in a bad way. There's been turbulence. I mean, like growth and comfort are mutually exclusive. So there's been a little bit of turbulence, but in terms of losing something that was at one point a primary outlet in life. And it's like a way to, like, regardless of how you view your sport or whatever it is that you do, for me, it was therapeutic. It was an outlet. I mean, you were out there with me. It was an outlet.
We had to tell how we met at some point too.
Yeah.
That went down, but whatever.
You said what?
We had to tell our backstory a little bit too.
Yeah.
I use backstory very specifically, just like
yeah. But and it was a lot of those things. But I guess what you grinning about, bruh?
Bro, I do that whole line for you, you didn't even catch it,
bruh, because I couldn't understand you. I tried to be smooth and keep it pushing. I did not understand
I said
a word.
Backstory, Phil. Anime.
Oh, no, nah. That's what I'm saying. I didn't hear what you said at all. I just tried to play it cool, like okay, cool. Let me keep it pushing. I tried to.
My mic not good.
Nah, your mic is, but like it kind of sounded like you. I'm not saying you mumbled. It sounded like you mumbled on that.
Probably was.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I guess since we're gonna have to cut anyway, now what did you want me to? Yeah. What did you want me to expound upon?
Yeah, I thought you were just gonna take it and run. Like when I said backstory, like tragic backstory, whatever. Like,
oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
nah.
we came up through the mud together. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, that is true. Where do I pick back up then?
So I said we're going to tell how we met sometime. You know what I'm saying? Well, I said backstory very specifically, and then you could say, oh yeah, and like kind of pick up like whatever. And then you might as well just cut it and just keep going.
Okay. Now, what was I saying before we started the cut? Like, what part was I at? Do you remember?
You're talking about like football being an outlet. I was out there.
Oh, okay.
And I said,
yeah.
I said, yeah, we have to tell how we met. So you could.
Yeah. So you want me to go into how we met then?
We'll talk about that. I said we'll
okay.
How we met, so we can talk about that.
Yeah, we can get it later. Yeah. So it was a huge outlet for me, and it was in the spring after football season. I'm taking a long time. Let me wrap this up. But I had a moment where I was realizing what do I do now? Like, where do I put this? All of this that I put into football, or all of this that football does to me. Like, where do I get it now, or where do I, how do I compensate for this, whatever such a loss? And for me in that moment, I realized it was at the Winter Blast. And we were doing like the worship, and I was realizing like football was in a way preparing me for the rest of my life. If that makes sense. It was like a petri dish for life, or like it was a lot of stuff was very condensed. A lot of human experience was very condensed, like heavily weighted decision making, like accountability, like functioning under pressure, teamwork, yeah, and leadership,
yeah.
And you learn how to lead. You learn how to be led. You learn what good and bad leadership look like. So, I just guess just starting off for me, football has been like a storage drive of information, or like cheat codes that I have for life. So like I'll run into a certain situation, and not even just football, sports, basketball, baseball. I didn't play those in college, but I could just reach into my bag and be like, okay, similar situation in the context of like football, or like And I've dealt with this very same situation before somewhere down the line. Like, how did it play out then? What could I have done better then? Or like if I did good, like how did it work? Or what did I learn from those things? But yeah. So for me, thus far, football has been, or like just leaving it has been like a significant thing. It's the where it's like I don't have to leave. I have to leave football, but I don't have to leave the game. Like I can bring it with me a little bit, if that makes sense. Like I bring all the stuff that I learned, like building teams, camaraderie. My conversations, I have conversations a little differently after the locker room than I did before. You know what I mean?
Yeah, locker room combos just be ridiculous. Like I don't know
Yeah.
how everybody else's locker room combos were, but we used to get into
Just all ends of the spectrum. It's just ridiculous.
relativity, allegory of the cave, whatever.
Yeah. Who would win, gorilla or bear? Full team
That one
engagement.
too. That's probably why when we just sit
Bro.
there philosophizing, whatever it is, in the locker room and not
Yeah.
football. But yeah, you're right. I feel like that's a good. I think it's good that we. First of all, what is the word I was trying to say? Because that's gonna bother me all day. What word?
Philosophy. I don't know because I want to say prophesying because it's such a close word, but it's not.
I said philosophizing.
I know, but I don't think it's.
Like, what am I? Let's just make it up. Whatever it is what
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
Anyway, keep moving.
We was in the locker room prophesying.
But
we're in the locker room speaking in tongues. My bad. Carry on.
no, but it was interesting though, dog. I feel like this is good that we actually get a chance to have this conversation because we're on two different sides of the spectrum. You really enjoyed sports throughout your life. I was more or less I was a little less willing participant. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I played sports, whatever, blah blah. But a big part of football is a big tool that God has used to develop my connection with Him. I played football 9 years or so, and like there was a point basically when I stopped playing where I felt like God told me to come back to it. And that's the game. I'm not gonna lie to you. Football for a long time of that 9 years, it caused me a lot of anxiety, especially because it was something I like didn't want to do, and it's like a lot of pressure, a lot of people relying on you. And like I was always what they consider like an effort player. You know what I'm saying? Like just going, I'm running down the field after whoever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But man, a lot of that used to come from like, or like I would be hitting extra hard like on drills. You know what I'm saying? But like I used to. There was a piece of that where it did come from like a little anxiety, like you know what I'm saying. Like, I got to do this, avoid whatever kind of outcome. I got to run all the way down there because I don't want to fail the team. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
But it's weird because this is a game I really didn't want to play. I felt like it was something God told me to do, and that's why I did it. It was my assignment. So I played it in high school, and I mean, well, I played it, middle school, high school, and it taught me a lot about character, a lot about like all the things you were saying, pretty much a lot of character things. Look somebody in the eye, how to, you know what I'm saying, how to lead, a lot of stuff. I guess the difference for me is like there was a sense of like freedom once football was over for me. Like, okay, your assignment's done. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I wouldn't take back any of those years because football for me, like, it was so much grander. I don't know how it was in the real world, but in my mind, every week, like, it was this grand stage for this big battle that we were participating in. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though I didn't like it, for some reason, I still dedicated myself. I guess it's because it was my assignment. I still dedicated myself to it wholeheartedly. Trained the way I trained, the way I ate. You know what I'm saying? Not going out when in preparation for a game or something like that. Like, I still gave everything I had because it was like this grand stage for this battle. And like, especially in the years where I did get a lot of anxiety for it, it was like there was no there was no time after Friday night or Saturday night. It was like the world ends after this. We'll see what happens, but it's like this big thing where everything every week.
Make it there.
It was like a big burden. You know what I'm saying? Like everything weighed on this game, and so obviously you can see why that would cause like a lot of anxiety.
Yeah.
But I fell in love with my brothers. You know, that was the thing that kept me going, that kept me pushing, was the people I was committed to. the people, the various individuals you meet in a world that's so divided. Really, you meet people of all backgrounds, classes, skin colors, whatever, and you'll sit and talk to them, especially at the Citadel, because our team went through a big transformation. You know, there was a lot of people who, from, like I said, different backgrounds who normally wouldn't congregate together, and somehow we
Mm-hmm.
broke those barriers and intermingled. And I think it changed a lot. I think it changed a lot more than football. I think it changed some lives.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Actually was talking to I was talking to Coach O on the phone the other day, and Coach O was telling me, he was like, "Man, you need to come in here and watch this film." I said, "For what reason I'm gonna come in here and watch some film?" And he said, "So you can see you weren't as good as you thought you were." You know, how Coach O be talking. I'm like, "Bro, why are you still roasting
why is he
me
still talking
years
trash to you?
later?" And he was saying, he was like, for y'all's generation, he said, what y'all did in the locker room and off the field, he said, honestly, I feel like, yeah, let them play ball. Just how much, whatever, like the guys on the team, like, all right, that class, I think, I don't know circumstantially what it was about, and you weren't a part of our class, but you were, Slick. You graduated with us. You ain't start with us, but you graduated with us. Yeah. So just background evidence for those who don't know what I mean by what I said. But I guess it was like timing, or I mean, like, it's God, but I don't know specifically like the methods he used here. You know what I'm saying? Like, he has a way of executing things. I can't identify the execution. I just know yeah. But on that, like you were saying, like different cultures coming together. You know what I mean? Like
Well,
different. Go ahead.
yeah, I mean, well, we think about us too. We were pretty prominent individuals on our team, and we were two individuals who obviously love to hear people's stories.
Yeah. Yeah,
We'll
that
sit
is
at the other
true.
person's table because, like, they're not to get into the depths of it, but there definitely was some forced integration on some fronts that we
Mm-hmm.
had to break barriers to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I think just the heart behind some of the leadership that we had.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, we had a diverse leadership group,
Very diverse.
very diverse, with all different ages and people who talked in a different circle, who fit in different circles.
Different personalities, all of that. Yeah.
And then you also had some people who maybe started out one way and over the course of time transformed to be another way. So they have the respect of having grown in front of everybody, but also they can talk to those people coming violent or coming angry or
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. People
You
who've been
know.
there. People who've been there. Not me.
Not do that. Not do that. But okay, so but then it's over. Right? All
yeah.
that's we
Yeah.
taught in our entire lives. All that um support, yeah, support. You've got accountability, like you said. You have a goal every week. Even in the
Mm-hmm.
off season, you have a goal.
Yeah.
A lot of that's different, man. That's actually I was at a friend who I was at a friend's graduation party, and he was like, I was just talking to him about what's different about life. I said, man, the biggest thing I feel like is different about life is that there aren't any like bookends in a sense. Like, okay, there's like the big stuff like wedding, marriage, or whatever, like kid, but like
You just
one,
you just living
you just
now.
live it. It's fluid. It's just fluid. You know what I'm
It's
saying? Like
continuous. It's continuous.
you don't know when like one chapter ends and another. Like you know what I'm saying? It's like harder to
Mm-hmm.
figure out because life just keeps going. Like
Mm-hmm.
it was my birthday at work, and I mean I have some nice coworkers, so they like made sure to say what's up to me. But like I still work. Like time keeps going. Nobody really
Mm-hmm.
cares. It's still another day, and I
Mm-hmm.
didn't do anything for my birthday anyway. You know, well, I did end up spending a little time on the weekend, but my birthday was like on a Tuesday or something. So
Gotcha.
it was like it was just a day, really. You know what I'm saying? For you're just a grown dude. You know what I'm saying? The world keeps
Mm-hmm.
spinning. Like you're just a cog in the world,
Yeah.
and you have problems. And I'm still trying to figure out when do you figure out when you're transitioning in life, or does it just like you do you learn to deal with stuff like problems, or it's weird. I don't know. I just felt like there was a lot more um resolution when you were like in school and stuff, whether it be the end of the school year, so you don't got to see whatever kind of bully, or you
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, or you get to look forward to seeing your friends.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just feel like it was a lot more structured.
Yeah,
Definitely. And I
yeah.
don't just mean school. I mean like life was more structured.
I was struggling with that for a little bit, and a couple of things I did. I was struggling with that, and then also inactivity. I don't know if that's a word. If it is, you know what I mean. It
Yeah.
is. But just the lack of activity in my life, and wasn't because before I was doing so much all the time. Like wake up 5 a.m., go work out, and then you done with your workout, gotta go eat, right? And then when you're done eating, gotta go to class. You done with class, go to film. You finish film, go to more class. You done with that, go get a workout in. Now you gotta show up for film, meetings, practice. You finish practice, you gotta go do homework. And it's like now you wake up, whatever your morning routine is, do your morning routine, go to work 9 to 5. You finish at 5. You come home, or whoever you, whether you work from home or whether it's COVID, but you come home and that's that. That's the rest of your life. And so now it's like for me, it's like trying to insert stuff into the blank. So now like me adding structure to my life, like on Tuesday nights we have the worship rehearsal for church. And so Tuesday nights do worship rehearsal. I joined this app called Open Sports where there's random pickup leagues for different sports. Charleston only has soccer. Make of that what you will. But there's only soccer in Charleston. So I got a pair of cleats. I got a little trainer. And I've been learning soccer. And I've been going and playing like 4:30, 5 o'clock. Like on certain weekdays, I'll go and I'll play soccer. I just kind of inserting
You picked up skateboarding.
skateboarding, that too, but like different things to where like so throughout my week, like in the morning, if I wake up early and I'm just like I got time, I wake up at like 4 or 5 or something, and I'm like, what do I do? What do I do? And it's like, okay, I'll just go and like skate, or I'll go and start my morning early, do like get something productive done, and then like it just I don't know, it gives me some sense of like the very subtle accomplishment. And it's like I guess as young men we don't realize like how significant that is. It's like, and it's in Proverbs somewhere, and it talks about how a man should work with his hands and a man should take delight in his work. But there's something about it, like doing something or like not being busy but working, that I think what I didn't realize was as critical during football, because that's all we did was work.
Yeah.
That was the fabric of our lives, was work.
And it's funny because you couldn't wait to get out of school.
Yeah, I hated school. I couldn't wait to, yeah, but
especially where we were at. But that's another story.
yeah. That's a whole discussion that you don't want me to dive down. Of the reason I hate
honestly, they don't want us to dive down.
Yeah, my bad. They don't want us to dive down. We can have this discussion, but I didn't realize until after the sport. And I think for a lot of I was talking to Cliff about it not too long ago. But for a lot of different people, after the sport, it's kind of like, man, like what do I? Life feels empty a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like, whoa, like it's like, oh, I have so much free time now, and it's like I can do whatever I want. And with that, you kind of learn a lot about yourself, like how assertive of a person am I, like how much work ethic do I have, how much discipline do I have, and it's if you don't, if you're not like a naturally disciplined person, if you haven't disciplined yourself over time and just relied on a team to do it for you, you start to see that as you get older.
That's a good point. There's a few different points that kind of struck some with me, but like right there, no matter what you're doing in school or whatever, you can just train as hard as you want to in football, and you can know that that's adding value to your life. You can feel like it's adding value to your life. Like you can feel like your existence on this earth means something because every weekend you're scoring a touchdown, you're getting that satisfaction or constant feedback, that positive feedback of saying, "Oh, okay, do more of this," because now people, like my life is significant. So it's like a constant uh, feed of praise or constant feed of affirmation or people saying that you're worth this, you're ranked this, or you're an NFL prospect, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Or just people in the crowd knowing your name and cheering
Mm-hmm.
for you. And then like the real world hits. And you have to find another way to, and this is a real thing. Like you got, like, I feel like people do have to wrestle with, I feel like I did have to wrestle with, how do I justify my place here on this earth? You know what I'm saying? Like, what am I going to, it puts you into this doer mentality, whether that's good or bad. I mean, it's probably bad, but what I'm saying is, it just does.
Yeah. The heart's intent is where, yeah, whether it's good or bad, whether it's sinful or not, it comes from the heart's intent behind it. But
Right,
yeah,
right. Well, even I mean, if we're biblically, I feel like human nature goes against what the
naturally.
right? Naturally,
Yeah.
yeah. But we always want to do something to prove our worthiness.
Hmm.
That's that's why it's so hard to understand the gospel.
Yeah.
For a long time, Christians still want to do something to earn that,
Hmm.
to
Yeah.
distinguish yourself.
Yeah.
But mm,
No, go ahead. Keep going.
no, I was just saying, like, well, you can go ahead and off that. I was gonna go on Dutch topic.
Yeah. No, what I was going to respond to that was because, like you were saying, we were coming at it from like different angles. And one thing that I appreciated that I didn't realize how much I appreciated was I was at the first of all, bro, let me tell you this. When you talked about the thing between, like, when you play football, you matter. When you don't matter, whatever. I didn't realize that I'd gotten accustomed to being a football player. And so one of my not one of my roommate Grant had one of his buddies over. And it's this guy that's at the Citadel and he's talking and whatnot, and I'm talking to him. And I'm like, this is really weird. This guy is a cadet at the Citadel right now, and he has no idea who I am. And we were talking, and I wasn't thinking that at first, but then I was like just talking to Grant, and I was like, yeah, Raleigh was whatever, blah blah blah. And the guy goes, wait, you mean like Raleigh Webb? I'm like, Raleigh Webb, huh? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, you probably know who Brandon Rainey is, huh? And he's like, yeah. And then I keep going or whatever, and I keep talking, and I mentioned something about Pat. And he's like, you mean the long snapper? I'm like, all right, bro. There's no reason for you to know who Pat is and not know who I am. But and then I had to feel good again. I said, Drew McIntyre? He was like, nah. And I was like, good.
Your best friend, yeah, make sure he in the mind.
make sure he, yeah, we're in the same hole. But he knew Brandon and Riley. I was like, he ain't gonna get nobody else out of my apartment. If he know what else, or he know whatever. But yeah, no, but we were. So this guy walks up to my buddy Hayden as we're at this Charleston Battery game, and he was actually one of my coworkers. And so he saw me. He's like, Phil, how's it going, man? Like, glad to see you, whatnot. Can't wait to get back in the office and all that. And I'm like, yeah, man, same. Like expressing the same sentiments. And then he walks off and he comes back and he's like, I didn't recognize if it was you or not, man. But I'm like, wait, that's Hayden Brown down there. And then the guy starts talking. He's like, thank you for coming back, man. Because Hayden is coming back with his 5th year.
Yeah.
Getting recruited by like every school in the nation. He could have went anywhere to play ball. But you said what? Yeah, he went crazy. Shout out to Hayden Brown. And since we at that, shout out to my dog Riley too. I just mentioned Riley. I got to talk about how he ate, but he's not in the story. Yeah. But and so the guy walked off, and then I thought about it, and I was like, you know what? I always assumed that it was like a very selfish, like feeling that came from playing in front of people, like playing football and whatnot. But I'm realizing now how much it made me happy, the fact that we were able to bless other people with playing football. Like week in and week out, day in and day out. Like it sucked. I love football. I don't like working out. Don't get it twisted. Winter workouts, summer workouts. You know what I'm saying? Like waking up at 5 a.m. to do a workout, to go work a job, to go take a class, to come back to work out again. You know what I'm saying? Eating 5 pounds of food every time I sit down. All this crazy. You know what I'm saying? So it's like doing all these different things, but like at the end of the day, I get pleasure from it. But also there's like people in these stands. This is what their fall consists of. This is what they look forward to, like Citadel football. And it's like when we're out there, we're getting to do that. And it's like somebody is being, and it's like maybe not everyone, you know what I'm saying? But there is at least a few people in those stands, like little kids and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, man, like these guys are pretty much NFL players. So the kids in Charleston, like, Citadel football guys. And they would see you after the game.
Walk up and touch every week.
They would, but the thing was, think about like what it looked like after the games, and it's like, can I have your glove? Can I have a wristband? You know what I'm saying? Like, can we take a picture? Like people coming up with their kids and whatnot. And for me, transitioning into life, it's made me a lot more of like externally, like outgoingly friendly to people, and that's a problem because you know how outgoing I was beforehand. But it kind of made me a little bit like more acts of service. I commit more acts of service. Like I've adopted the servant leader mindset a lot more, and blessing people. I didn't realize how much that brought pleasure to me to help other people or to make other people happy or to, be able to provide for someone else. You know what I'm saying? And that was a big thing that I didn't realize that I was getting from sports. But afterwards, I realized, okay, that's something that I do enjoy. It's like blessing others. Yeah.
Nice. I actually hadn't. I guess it's been a while since I thought of it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely felt that way at Grayson when we were #1 team in the nation, all that stuff.
I forget you was goated before you. I forget you went to Grayson. He said Grayson. People know who that is. Like someone would know that high school. You say high school, nobody's supposed to know. Carry on.
Yeah, that was that was an unreal experience, especially like our state championship game. Like the way we lost before, it really felt like Infinity War versus like Endgame. Like the whole city came to that game, and like we won by the skin of our teeth. I put so much into that game. I never want to look at football again. It took me 3 weeks to even talk about the game because I put so much into the game. I had to sit. I literally like collapsed after the game. Like
Yeah.
everything I had because I thought it was my last game, but that's not a story. Anyway, I put everything I had into that one. But yeah, it does mean a lot to people. You're right, and that is a good feeling of like. I mean, that's what it's supposed to be. When you do stuff, seek like for selfish ambition, it's like an empty feeling, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But that is something that you can do. Something constructive that you can do even in the real world is find a way to lift others up with whatever you're doing. Like
Mm-hmm.
for me, actually, okay, I think that does transition to what I do. So for those who don't know, I sell like mortgages or whatever, right? And I'm not gonna make this about that, but I sell mortgages at a company, and some people can be all about the numbers, be all about like writing whatever kind of loan, or if they, if they don't, if this person doesn't seem like they're gonna, fund or whatever the loan's gonna go through, then like don't waste your time on it. But for me, it's about changing people's lives or helping people, especially in like different kind of disenfranchised communities. So
Mm-hmm.
if I'm on the phone with somebody and it's obviously not going to qualify, I start coaching them up,
Yeah.
and that blesses me. Like I'm like, well, I mean, like we're not going to be able to do it right now, but here, you have some paper nearby. Here, let me just show you. Like here's where you're at right now. Here's how you can get to this point, or this is what you need to visualize. And I break down the game to them. I want them to succeed. I mean, first of all, that builds trust. But also just it edifies me as a human being. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't feel
Yeah.
trashy. I
Yeah.
feel good. I'm actually doing this job that people keep wishing that somebody would actually look out for them for.
Mm-hmm.
Over here, like actually looking out for the best interest. It may not get me the most sales sometimes because I'm
Yeah.
spending however long on the phone with this person trying to make sure they're good whenever they're ready. But hopefully, there's other dividends that there are already some immediate ones that are coming back to me, but hopefully, there's some longer term ones that don't necessarily have to be monetary, but just knowing that I could help somebody get their
Mm-hmm.
house because these people don't know the game. I didn't know the game before, like getting to I'm like, oh, like it's a whole lot. It's hard
It's
for
a
anybody,
whole process. Yeah.
but it makes me feel good to be able to do that, and
Mm-hmm.
it kind of does. I guess you could say like tap into that feeling. It's
Mm-hmm.
weird, but I'm glad you brought that up. I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah. And I mean, also, that's kind of like the same sentiment behind this podcast in its entirety.
Truth be told,
Yeah.
yeah,
Not that we out here, just whatever, helping people out like, oh, come and listen. We got all the answers. No, but just conversation. Like maybe you can get something from this that we don't even have. You just hear it picking up. And also, speaking on the topic of what you were just talking about, I I think about something that's been like on my mind lately is like financial education
yeah,
and how like just for different communities, like different places throughout the world,
yeah,
and and I don't even want to boil it down. I don't even want to make broad generalizations and be like, oh, like this community, this community. It's like, nah, like South Carolina's a state. There's communities in South Carolina. There's communities in Texas. There's like communities in like Kentucky or whatever. So we can't get like a
you mentioned that in like casual conversation. Nobody ever does.
of all the states, I mentioned the most irrelevant one besides like Idaho or something.
Yeah,
But they have communities too. But like different communities of people in different areas, like local to those areas, public education, all these different things are very specific to those like areas. But Um,
Right.
yeah. So anyway, I'm off topic, but I was thinking like I want to do it like an episode about like financial education.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
We gotta be on
and
our tip top on that one though.
yeah.
Maybe steering people the wrong way, but
I
I'll
was
think
I was going I was going to say though, I would want to feature someone else on there, and I was thinking Pat because he doesn't look like us, he doesn't sound like us, he works in finance and he understands money.
and Tay,
Tay,
Dante.
bet you want to
He might be on Wall Street or something like that now. If he's not, then he's on his way. Dude's up in New York
Tay.
making moves. Yeah.
Tay is in New
Yeah.
York right now.
He's in New York, dog.
I'm getting loud on the thing. We're gonna have to cut all this, but
No, we're not.
oh
Yeah, shout out to Tay.
man, Tay is going like hold on, bro. I didn't even. That's crazy. I didn't think he was. When did Tay graduate? December?
December, yeah.
Because they.
Yeah. Me and Dante were in the mud together the entire from first summer to graduate. I graduated a little bit early. He went back and got a finance degree or whatever, finance major. But from the first time I met him, the reason I started hanging around him because I knew he was he also had a bigger mind than just football.
Than just football,
yeah. He said, "Hey, bro, what you know about stocks?" First time I met him, that's it.
You just made a friend.
You just made a friend. Yeah. That's it. Yeah, that's all I need to hear.
Yeah.
So anyway, we might have to have him on here or Pat, whoever, both.
We can get them both on here, yeah.
So
and just pick their brains, see what they got to offer.
Yeah, but that, I guess, in another sense, like this, I do want to impact community still.
Mm-hmm.
Even though it's not through football, which is entertainment, but I want to take them somewhere.
Make a
difference.
What I'm saying?
Yeah. Make it, leave a legacy. It's all about legacy, really. All this stuff we asked about, football, worthiness, achievement. It's all kind of about what you're that feeling of legacy. You talking about being remembered on the team or whatever, but that is a way that we can, and that's where I'm going towards. Now that I'm out of football and stuff like that, I want to make a difference in community.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about it.
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah, man.
You can take over there. I don't want to take over too much time, but that's where my heart's at.
Yeah. Nah, so I guess let me see what we got going on here. No, we good to go recording wise. So walkaways from today. If we were to have a real quick, not real quick, but a specific section here to talk about what we gathered from this conversation. Do you think is there any anything you want to emphasize more, or any new things you want to start to focus on in life going forward, following, or any things you've already been doing that you want to talk about?
I feel like we should talk about what it's like to be lost.
Okay.
We graduated at a really uncertain time.
An opportune time.
That's true.
Yeah.
So, and we both felt what it felt like to be lost in our own different way.
Mm-hmm.
Isolation. We kind of got just put into a weird situation. I don't know. How soon did you start your job after we graduated?
I was working my internship for a couple years before, so it was just but it was still weird because I definitely was at my house in Columbia you know what I'm saying? From spring break until I moved out in August, but yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we just went home for spring break one day and never came back.
Literally found out on the way home, but carry on.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I was supposed to work in a movie studio. And that's my thing. I want to be a movie director for those who don't know. Or I somewhat. Yeah, I'm still figuring it out. But I wanted to make movies and I have stories in mind and all that stuff. I had my dream internship at a movie studio and they get shut down. I had to figure out what to do. And so I want to continue to be just a steward over my time and some other things that God was leading me to. So that led me into mortgages, but I had to pivot pretty hard. All these 3 years, I did 3 years at the Citadel instead of 4. I graduated in 3 rather. All those 3 years, I have this goal in mind. I'm gonna do this, put in the work, set myself up for the future, get connections so that I can be at my movie studio or get somebody who knows somebody who can get me at the movie studio or whatever else. and like that got shot immediately. And I'm trying to
Mhm.
figure out what I'm throwing in the flex. The whole world's throwing the flex, but I'm throwing in flex. Let alone whatever kind of other personal challenges and development that you have to go through as well when you
Mhm.
just sitting at home with nothing to do and thinking
Mhm.
about yourself and your life. So, and Phil, I know you can touch on that. You want to hit that one real quick?
Yeah, no, for me it was a like I said, we got that news. It was like what, 13th, March 13th or
March
something like
13th.
that.
Yeah, yeah. What's it called? Black Friday or something like that.
It
Not Black.
was
Not Black Friday.
um Friday the 13th.
Please.
He told please. Nah, but I was pulling off of campus and I think I've already told this story on the podcast before, but
It's our
I
podcast.
you said what?
It's our podcast.
I guess you're right. Y'all gonna hear it. Let me stop. But no, it was a very uh it was ironically disorienting because
Mm.
I went home for spring break. On the way, actually I was on my way to Asheville to visit my friend Kaylee. And I heard the news on the way to Asheville. And I still went to Asheville. But after that I came back home and I was home and it was like my mother and I at home. And I grew up, I'm the youngest of four kids. Gayleen, Tanya, Cliff, myself. And I was just used to having a full house growing up. And I came home from school and I was at the house with like my mom and I, and it was like she works, I work. It was just me, kinda. And like you said, other variables floating around and different things going on. But going from being like living okay at the Citadel, like in battalion, right? So it's 130 people in your company already that you see every day. There's about on the football team 105 people shower with the same 12 guys every day. You know what I'm saying? And and then it's like consistently like all the time like move, go, whatever, blah blah blah. And now I get sent home and I have a work laptop for my job, the internship at the time. And the end of a project that I was working on at my job. And the end of a project gets really crazy. And so I'm like freshly graduated school, sitting at home by myself with this laptop, like kind of like you said, lost. Like I don't. There was so
Locked
much that,
away.
dude. It was like so much. There was so much going on, like so much anticipation following the graduation of college.
Yeah.
Think about your
Yeah.
whole life from like the time you were like in kindergarten until that day of graduation, our virtual commencement ceremony. But from that time, that was the thing. That's it. And then you graduate, and it's like you have stuff set up, but it's like you're really not spending too much time thinking of maybe the last 2 years, junior, senior year, thinking about life of college. Freshman, sophomore year, you're thinking about having a good time, trying to figure out who you are. Junior,
That's
senior year,
yeah.
yeah.
I couldn't wait to get out. Just for the record, I could not wait to get out of college. I hated that place.
Just and then you graduate just to, and then even outside of that circumstance, even outside of COVID, just life. Like you
Yeah.
graduate from this whole system, and then it's like, bloop. You're just like you said. I'm just a piece of a way bigger equation, and it's
Yeah.
not the insignificance that doesn't that's like thwarting. I guess it's the purpose, like the lack of I guess purpose. And I mean, I had purpose, but I didn't know what it looked like, how to execute it, and whatnot. And so I touched on a few. So like you said, purpose, and for lack of better word, but the immediate contrast to having so much purpose, so much tasking, I guess
Yeah.
here. Tasking is a better word here. So like with so much tasking in school and so much like things to do, so many things to do, and the transitioning to work to where it's like outside of like my job, I work. It's yeah, it's rigorous, it's hard, but like my job is my job. I ain't doing homework. You know what I'm saying? I'm not coming home, whatever. But the contrast and tasking was very difficult for me, and it highlighted. And I'm really glad that you used the word purpose because it highlighted the purpose in my life. It's like the removal of tasking, and so it seemed like I was seemingly like lost in this world down on my. I'm about to start quoting Kanye lyrics, but well, actually,
Ah,
Bon Iver. But I started to realize like purpose is like, okay, now that I don't have all these tasks, what am I doing here? Why am I here?
yeah.
What am I?
Seeking,
Right?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then that's when you start to, and that's when I'm started volunteering for the worship team. Like I'm on the worship team now, and like volunteering in different places. I can't talk about a few things that are developing right now, but kind of giving my life purpose. That's how, for me personally, that's how, not giving my life purpose, but living in my life's purpose. And that's how I've combated like the lack of tasking that I've been accustomed to, and the lack of like short-sighted ambition. You know what I mean? Because it's like in school, it's like it's right there, it's right there, it's right there. You know, you got to feed them a steak, keep them hungry, or you know, right there, right there, right there. But like in life, it's like I can start planning right now to do something when I'm 60.
Mm.
I can plan to be at a certain place when I'm 45. I can plan to do something next week. I can plan to do something next month. I can quit my job. I can be homeless. I can die. You see what I'm saying? Like these different things is like I am the fool, like these consequences and whatnot. So what am I going to do with it? And for me personally, I answered that question with at least doing my best to live in my purpose, God's purpose for my life. What does that look like? Trying to figure that out.
Nice. I like
Yeah.
that. I like that a lot. Man, I feel like we're really gonna hit it. But everything that you were saying, I would co-sign. Except I would, for me personally, use the word battling with insignificance. Here's a big thing. I had more free time to work on creative projects and to plan out things that I want to do and dreams and visions, and then I'm planning them out. And stuff like sucks. You know what I'm saying? I don't have the escape from everything else that was pushing me to write all those things and blah blah. Um, but like just in general in life, like or my creative projects, whatever, take whatever you so desire. But I'm over here and it's like, dang, like the for a second, I really struggle with the weight of life being on me now. You know what I'm saying? Like you just said, I could, you know, plan my life 60 years from now. I could be homeless. I could blah blah. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, hold on, the full spectrum of choices is up to me, and I don't want to. I guess it is a mix of purpose and insignificance, but I'm like, I've seen people whose lives go this way. I've seen people whose lives go this way. How do I avoid ending up like these people? Because I've always been watching ever since I was a kid. I always watched people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and kind of like course corrected from them wherever they went. But
Mm-hmm.
now it's just like I said, in flux. Everything's open, and
Mm-hmm.
it gave me a little bit of anxiety for a while because I'm trying to figure out how do I end up here, and I can't even see a clear road ahead. I have no idea, and it's like
Mm-hmm.
for me, I felt like these decisions are permanent. I felt like wherever I'm going, like whatever step I take, if it's the wrong one, it's going to set me on the wrong course. And I won't know until I'm a million miles away from where I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Like, think about the weight of that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Chronos versus Kairos.
go back
A
there.
little quote, a little quote.
But I think that's where the grace of God just came in for me. Show me like when I'm taking these steps, learning, making mistakes, whatever, and still seeing like somehow God's purpose for my life just showing through as I'm trusting Him because I have no idea what's doing this next step. I have a whole bunch of wise people around me, but that's not going to do a lick of difference with the choices that I have to make that are completely my own.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so like I'm listening to them, but also like my circumstances, my situations are finally tailor made to me. And so it's like I have to trust God because it's a complete level. It's a different level of uncertainty that I'm not familiar with, and I have to trust that my life won't be insignificant. I have to trust that it will be filled with purpose. That I won't miss my mark. That my mistakes won't like mm,
Define you.
define me. Really, you know what I'm saying? Like that was a big. It was big. I had never been hit like that before, but it was big. Trying to figure out a way. Like I don't know, just feel like I just like stepped off of whatever course because there was just so much freedom.
So that happened. That we haven't talked about this even off air. That happened. Was that a thing that you dealt with too, bro?
Yeah.
Like after graduating, for some reason, like I went through a stage where like my sin started to like define me, at least me mentally, like in my head.
Yes.
Like the
Absolutely.
gravity, and it's like my sin was really eating me alive, like
Yeah,
for
absolutely.
a
I
few,
became
like for an
more
extended period.
aware.
Uh-huh.
Absolutely. Way more
Yeah.
aware. Well, the biggest thing that God did was take away the pride.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I became way more aware of my sinfulness and the fact that I'm blind to so much in this world. Like he really had to show me I'm not the shepherd, like I'm a sheep. And I didn't realize
Mm-hmm.
I positioned myself that way, but I just came to trust my own instincts and my own vision too much. I wasn't like out here being haughty because I hate pride.
Mm-hmm.
But subconsciously I had exalted my own wisdom or knowledge or objectivism, right? To a point that I thought I knew what was best for my life. And so he was like, all right, I'll let you. And dude, it utterly crushed me. But I'm grateful for it for sure. How about you?
Mm-hmm. One thing you talked about pride just now, and I wanted to make a point about it too, because in my like growing up, my mom would always tell me this thing about like humility. Like you need to work on humility, humility, humility. There's all the time humility, any whatever humility. She's always said, and I used to be like, I'm not like an arrogant guy. Like I'm not prideful. I'm not like condescending. I don't have this big ego or anything like that. But the humility she was referring to was in spite of pride in the sense of where does your source of security come from?
Yeah. Yeah.
If that makes sense. So it's like you don't even have to think you hot stuff, but like pride is like you being, I guess, like secure in your own ability to do things relative to your surrounding environment, if
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
And and like you said, just a very meticulous, very intentional, very detailed process of stripping every fiber of pride. I'm not gonna say every because I'm not gonna say it's like I'm free of pride. I'm void
Yeah.
of pride. Yeah, but it just every single strip was painful. Every layer of that pride, every layer of that ego, or these layers have been being peeled off to the point to where it's like I'm not my own source of strength anymore. You know,
Right.
I never was, but I don't interpret it that way anymore.
At all.
I didn't
There's
realize that I'd gotten to that point, like you said. I didn't realize I'd gotten there, but I
me.
did.
I'm sitting over here like, dang, bro, that dude's so prideful. You know what I'm saying? Looking at folks like it's gonna be a hard fall, and it was.
hmm
I was sitting here like, little did you know, just looking at my ugly behind. But yeah, I'll leave you with two scriptures. All right, that kind of resonate with me. One is Proverbs 3 verses 5 and 6.
Mm.
It is trust in the Lord with all your heart and lead not on your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge Him.
Knowledge him.
Yeah.
That's fine. You said the verse. I'm like, ooh, he about to spit. But carry on.
Don't hype me up too much, bro.
My
Because
bad. My bad. My bad. My bad. My bad. Go ahead. Carry on.
oh look, what I said was acknowledge Him in all your ways, and He shall direct your path. And so, like for 2020, I knew my word was like trust, and that was where God put in my heart. But literally, just breaking down every line of that scripture, trust in the Lord with all your heart. So I'm sitting here like, I already do that. You know what I'm saying? But He had to break that down and lean not on your own understanding. So I'm sitting here for months on end, just looking at my circumstances, and I mean, I'm like, there's no way this can become like any kind of like beautiful thing. You know what I'm saying? Just looking at my life and the brokenness within. No, the scripture just talks about acknowledge Him in all your ways and He shall direct your path. So I really had to go layer by layer for that scripture and figure out how it fits into my life. And the biggest way, I mean, God, I want to say created, but maybe exposed a lot of insecurity. Like you said, insecure, which I had never really felt before, that I was conscious of, and like show me a lot of different areas. And it's like in your own strength, trying to compensate for Him, it's not gonna be it.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to lean on Him just to keep your sanity, right? Like,
Yeah.
it would drive you to do a lot of crazy different things. But I'm grateful for it. I'm not ashamed to say, like, I had insecurities. or maybe I still do. I still have insecurities,
Mm-hmm.
but it's completely different because I'm trusting God to cover them, and He does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That actually reminds me of something you were saying earlier. You were talking about how, like even from a young age, I used to do the same thing. Even from a young age, observing different people's lives, and it'd be like, well, how do I not end up here where they are? Or how do I end up here where they are? Or how does this person, not even me, how does this person get to that point in life? That's
Yeah.
something I used to be wondering a lot as a kid. I used to just wonder, like, but you're an adult. Why, like, how, like,
How?
why don't you just do better? You know, because as a kid, I thought like I'm a kid and like I have to learn how to grow up and I have to grow up. And when I grow up, I'm gonna be straight. So for everyone who's grown up, what's y'all excuse? Like, what are you
What's
doing?
your
But as
excuse?
a kid, and what you said just now kind of touched on that, but you were saying like, because everyone has their own insecurities. Everyone has insecurities. Like to what degree you let them affect you is up to you, but everyone has insecurities. And when you were talking about like compensating for your insecurities with your own accomplishment or with your own methodology, whatever that may be, that is how I've seen a lot of cases of people ending up somewhere and not recognizing themselves. You know what I mean? Or ending up, and here's a great example. I mentioned him earlier, but public figure Kanye West, and he like just throughout the trajectory of his career, like throughout his life and throughout his whole discography, you can hear in his music how he is personally compensating for a lot of insecurities that he had growing up. And he like encapsulates the whole essence of like pride and like ego and like self accomplishment and like self praise. Like throughout his discography, like he goes, and it's a beautiful discography, but he
Yeah.
goes on this journey. Yeah, and it's like it goes from like, you know, Jesus Walks. It goes
That's
from
exactly what I just said. I said we're not gonna get into how much Phil loves, but
oh no. I'm not getting into it, but what I'm saying is like even in his discography, like it goes from like titles like Jesus Walks to like this, and then it goes to songs like Graduation, and then it has like Flashing Lights, and then it
all
has
bangers, probably.
Stronger. You know what I'm saying? I Wonder, like all these different things, like all these different songs. And like the next album comes, I skip Late Registration, but next album comes and it's like songs like Power, All of the Lights, whatever. And then it gets eventually to Yeezus to where he drops a song and it's like I Am a God.
Yeah.
And then following that has a mental breakdown to which he like the torment of him realizing that he built himself and like he you can listen going he still has you know stuff going on, but he went and to like in his mind fabricated who he was and like relied on his own understanding, on his own strength, and he had the genetically impossible wife, first black man billionaire in America. You know what I'm saying? He's got all these things and was miserable because all his stuff came from his own. And then he even talked about it like in an interview. He was like, I realized like I've gotten far away from who I am. And it's just like trying to personally compensate for those insecurities. And I think that's where I think on the at least specifically on the Christian journey, that is one thing that will, at least I know personally, will just completely put you in left field and have you looking back at home plate like how'd I get here? You know what I mean?
That's a good point. That's a nice little word to lies to try to steer clear of. You
Mm-hmm.
know, we all. I mean, no, I mean I'm just digesting that. Honestly, that's a good little example, Phil. I appreciate you bringing that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, so insecurity is definitely a life killer if you allow it to determine where you go.
Mm-hmm.
I go back to the story of Jeremiah when God called him,
He said I'm
and
too young.
he said, "I'm too young and I don't have enough experience." He said that. I'm like, people not gonna listen to me, but God still called him, kept calling him until it was like, "Yo, His word gonna burst out of my mouth if I don't do this thing." You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just amazing that God didn't allow Jeremiah's insecurity to, answer for His purpose. So that just speaks against the faithfulness of God. But yeah, insecurity will talk you right out of your purpose, bro. If you
Mm-hmm.
so, praise God for His faithfulness and His commitment to restore us and lead us where we need to be.
Yeah.
Well, shoot, we covered quite a bit.
Yeah.
We did.
And like we said at the beginning, we're a little rusty, so this one might be a little spotty, but here it is. Here it is.
Yeah, hopefully there's some gems in here for you guys. We obviously just really appreciate you guys coming back and listening to us week after week after 5-week break and then week. No, we really do appreciate it. And we'd love to hear more of you guys' opinions, more of what you guys want to hear about, what you think about what we're saying, thoughts on us, and yeah, just send it our way. We really appreciate you guys. Love you guys. Make sure you give us a like, subscribe, follow, put the bell notification on there just so we can get the word out to other people so they can hear in on these conversations with us, just two young Black men just trying to figure out the world, on different spectrums and fulcrums that it spins on. So I guess we'll be signing off and seeing y'all. Peace.
All right. All right, now what game we gonna stream? I'm gonna cut it right there, but
Cut the recording, bro.
yeah. Make it easier on myself.